Hi, everybody. So I'm on the floor of my Airbnb. I'm in the middle of doing a film, but I do have somebody in production that I asked what are some things that I can share from just the last 3 days of us working together. And there's a lot of times that I repeat to write everything down, write everything down, write everything down. That is like so important. I talk really fast. Sometimes you can't understand what I'm saying. And if you don't know what I'm saying, she told me to say, ask questions, be humble, and don't assume. I hate the word assume because people say it makes beep out of you and me. Um, but there are some items that people just don't know when we speak about like starting work or like the cast dudes or just like the picture vehicles and things like that. If you really, really don't know what your superior is telling you, then just ask, because all they're going to do is just add a couple more words to what they're saying instead of like, check the picture vehicles that we need and then let's, find those cars and da da da. And they're like, what are picture vehicles? And if they don't know what picture vehicles are, it's like, picture vehicles are the vehicles that are being used in the film. And that would make sense to them that they know they need to scrub it if the dudes aren't out, just things like that. Just always ask questions. She did state, do it now, do it now, do it now. There's many times that, I talk to people and I say things, and I have that huge Google workbook, like the Google sheet. I call it the production Bible, but I have that with tons of tabs. And if I'm like, oh my gosh, we have overages with this person's flight, overages with this person's hotel, overages with flying this person in when they're supposed to be local. So let's make a tab called overages. And then we have to make sure that, the producers approve it, yada, yada. And as I'm kind of stating it and I create the tab. And as I'm stating it, instead of writing it down, the flight overage, the hotel overage, bringing in an actor that was supposed to be local overage, type it in there. So like, do that now. Don't do like the double work. So then let's see, call first. There's just a lot of times that things it's a crunch of time that you got to get so much done because there's so much you can't do until like funds are clear, till if it's a SAG film, until they clear you. Just a lot of things. And instead of emailing people, just call. And especially if you don't get a response from them, and just say that you have like 5-6 days you can wait for a response because it might be something that's needed in 2 weeks. If you don't get a response within the next 24 hours of that email, make sure to call them. Make sure that you do have a running list on who and what you're waiting for. You can send out so much information and ask for so much information from somebody, and don't just think that they're reading it and they're going to respond back to it. And then you're like, oh, I did the task by asking this person what are their expendables that they need for their department. And you're thinking, good. And then the day of filming, they might run up to you and say, hey, did you get my camera expendables or whatever? And you're like, huh? Oh, you never responded to me. That's the worst excuse. So put that on your list. You might have asked them for it if they didn't already give you something. And if you're asking for something, write it down that you're waiting for this information because it's not done until somebody responds. That's that tip. There's printing schedules. There's like tech scouts that come up, and there's different first ADs that want the schedules printed. There's people that want the tech scout printed of the order. Some people are just like, just email it so they have it on their phone instead of like a paper. Just make sure you ask ahead of time when you're doing a tech scout, the key people, the first AD and the producer and director, what's everything that they want and how do they want it delivered. Because you could just think one thing and think something minimal, and then they just want it bigger and better. And it's not bigger and better, but it's just like more detailed. And I always tell people to give more information than less. We have a location that she wanted to know like how many people and how many trucks and, you know, what time. I need a lot of detail. So I gave her a lot of detail. I mean, I let her know who's showing up at 7 in the morning and what they're doing before everybody rolls in at 8 o'clock, and what they're doing, what we're bringing in, where we're bringing it in through, what we need like overnight parking for, what we need coned off. You have to really think about things like that. If your parking is like 2 lots back, you can't have your G&E truck there, especially if they're lighting the outside of a building. You want the G&E truck there lighting the inside, you know, of the building in the alleyway. Can we get the alley? They might say no because the trash is coming through. Can we park there, and if we see the trash coming through, and then we can pull out? Definitely get permission and definitely know things like that versus showing up and they're just like, we got to unload this and this is where we got to set the lights, and you're like, oh no, we got to park there. That's just ridiculous. So just a lot more details, just everything and anything that you can think of, write it down. I think that's kind of it. There's just so many factors to so many things, and those are just like what came up with just the past couple days. I mean, there's probably like 52 other items, but I'm really tired. But that's it. See you next time.